Hey, Jonathan from GameSpot here. I'm here with Randolph, and I believe you have seen a little bit of Gears of War Judgement. Is that correct?
That's right. So it's just in a behind closed doors session, just up there with Cliffy B from Epic, obviously, and someone from People Can Fly, and they took us through essentially a little bit of Gears of War Judgement. So that was officially announced at E3 this week, and it is a prequel of sorts where you do play as Coltrane and Baird. The first thing they really wanted to, I guess, stress was they really wanted to go back to the roots of Gears of War with this. So I guess the main thing that they were really pushing is that they want to make the game more difficult, more challenging. So I guess, like, Cliffy B's, I think, direct lines were that, he wanted to move away from, 2 minutes of gameplay cutscene, 2 minutes of gameplay cutscene. He wanted it to be, to feel more like playing the original Gears of War, and to have, a really good sort of difficulty curve. And he was saying that, he's been playing this game, and he's been killed quite a lot of times. So that's that's apparently pretty amazing for someone who plays Gears of War all the time.
So is it going to be a little bit more arcade-based, like a score system, or is it still going to be story-driven in that?
It's still going to be story-driven. It's actually interesting. The story is one of the things that they're going to try and make it more difficult. So they have this thing called a declassification system. Essentially, the narrative is, Baird is being court-martialed by COG. And essentially, and they weren't really super clear on this, but what they were saying was you will play through events the way COG sort of remembers them. And because COG is trying to cover some stuff up here, Baird will then come in and sort of clarify things, and it'll actually be a worse situation. So you'll get to play through the same situation, but it'll be like the level layout may be different, your weapon loadouts may be different, the enemies may be different. So it's kind of adding extra difficulty using narrative. And one of the other things they've got is a smart spawn system. And essentially, in previous Gears of War, difficulty was basically just judged on, how much health you had or how much ammo, was lying around. But what they're doing now is they're actually trying to make difficulty a little bit more flexible, a little bit more on the fly, a little bit more dynamic. So when you're playing at different difficulty levels, different enemies will actually show up, different abilities from those enemies will show up. And one of the games actually name-checked for this was Dark Souls. They were saying that, as an example of a difficult game that people have embraced because of the challenge inherent in it.
All right. So about the mechanics of the game itself, anything has changed much, or we're still going to see some more cover-based, like tactical kind of shooting? Yeah,
so I guess the core of Gears of War is still there. They have kept most of the control system, but they have revamped it slightly. So they've made a few little tweaks, like they're making it quicker to throw grenades, so you can still stand there and whirl it around and take your time, but you can just instantly release it as well. They've changed a couple of button layouts, but that's about it. But from the little bit that they showed, because they didn't really actually show that much single player, but the little bit that they showed, it sort of looked and felt like Gears, but they said they were going to throw more locusts at you than ever before in this game.
Oh, right. So even multiplayer will be more or less the same concepts, like team deathmatch stuff?
Yeah, so multiplayer, they showed one thing called Overrun, which we talked about in a separate video, but basically Overrun is a competitive multiplayer mode, sort of like a mixture of Beast and Horde mode, so you'll get to play as COG and you'll get to play as Locust. It's an objective-based one, and it's also a time one where you can you essentially have to destroy a point in the map as Locust, and you have to protect it as COG, and it's class-based now as well. So there's a lot more details in the other video that we did on Gears of War Judgement.
Right, I think it might seem like it's more of the same a little bit, but let's just hoping that it's something a little different by coming next year. So anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it. That's Gears of War Judgement.
All right, there you go.